Hey there, DigiCoin Daily family. You're about to experience a leap into the world of AI, where fact and fiction take on a whole new meaning. Who do we trust with the truth? Big profit-driven companies? Or maybe the government? Are you up for a challenge? Remember the 1983 movie War Games? Chatbots and AI have evolved massively since then. The movie was a stark warning about the over-reliance on technology without the human touch.
Shall we play a game?
How can I ask you that?
Nuclear devastation sparked by a rogue hacker and a military supercomputer. Scary, right? The plot doesn't sound as sci-fi anymore, does it? Over 4 decades, our computers have become data-hungry scholars, soaking up knowledge, correcting errors, and getting stronger each day. But not all data is created equal. Misinformation is spread just as quickly as valid information. It's like a modern-day printing press, but on steroids. So, humans and AI are teaming up, endlessly error-correcting and sifting through the data deluge.
Joined now by Seth Dobrin, president of the Responsible AI Institute and former Global Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer for IBM. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
And most people, when they think of AI, they're thinking of Siri on their cell phones, they're thinking of Alexa or the Google Assistant. What kind of advanced AI technology are we talking about here? What can it do?
Yeah, so what we're talking about here is primarily technology called large language models or foundational models. These are very, very large models that are trained essentially on the whole of the internet. And that's the promise, as well as the scary thing about them is, the internet basically reflects human behavior, human norms, the good, the bad about us, and the AI is trained on that same information. And so, for instance, OpenAI, which is the company that built ChatGPT, which most everyone in the world is aware of at this point.
There are a few who still aren't.
Yeah, there's a few who still aren't, yeah. But it was trained on Reddit, right? Which, from a content perspective, is really not where I would pick, but from a how do you train a machine to understand how humans converse, it's great. And so, it's pulling the good and the bad from the internet, and it does this in a way.
Because we should say Reddit is like a chat site.
Yeah. Reddit is a chat site, and you get all these bad conversations going on in things called subreddits, and so there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of misogyny, there's a lot of racism that's in the various subreddits, if you will. And if you think about what it's ultimately doing, it's essentially, think of it as autocomplete, but on a lot of steroids. Because all it's doing is it's predicting what's going to happen next based on what you put into it.
AI's growing power brings with it the promise of a new world order, skyrocketing productivity and reduced cost. We're heading towards a future where human labor might become as rare as unicorns. So unless you're a believer in fairy tales, it's time to embrace this reality. But don't just take it from me. Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI himself, has been shaping machine learning tech for decades. Remember the 80s, the time when neural networks were not at all that efficient. The problem wasn't the concept. We simply lacked the computational horsepower, and datasets were tiny. Fast forward to now, with the internet, data is no longer scarce, and machines all around the globe are exchanging knowledge at the speed of light. ChatGPT can outperform any human in a general knowledge quiz. But let's not forget, we humans are still superior when it comes to reasoning. Here's a twist. AI lacks that uniquely human essence. Hinton describes ChatGPT as an idiot savant that doesn't fully grasp the concept of truth. In this AI-driven era, the nature of truth is constantly under scrutiny. We're moving beyond just trusting what we see and read. Ever heard of the enchanted pistachio tale?
Have I ever told you the story of the magical pistachio? I got lost in the grocery store and couldn't find my way out. But that's when I saw it, a glowing pistachio. It spoke to me and said, "Follow me and I'll lead you to safety." So I followed it, and we climbed up shelves and found a secret passage that led me to the bread aisle. And that's how I found my way out of the grocery store, all thanks to the magical pistachio. So if you ever get lost, just remember all you need is a little faith and a magical pistachio to guide you to safety.
It's just like how much of our daily social media content is flagged as disinformation or misinformation. The big question is, who decides what's true? You surely wouldn't want a profit-driven corporation or the government making that call, right? It all boils down to who controls the data. This is where Bitcoin enters the chat. With deep fakes and misinformation swirling around, trust is hard to come by. And Bitcoin can offer a solution by helping verify identities and encrypt information.
Is the world's biggest and most important trust network. And talking a little bit about trust and something else people are worried about in the future as far as open source, open AI, and whether that will truly be something that is open and censorship resistant. Because now people are sending videos, creating deep fakes, and they're wondering, did this person actually send this to me? And so I know that you have some thoughts on how Bitcoin can actually help verify and prove identity and allow you to cryptographically sign for pieces of information so that the person receiving it on the other end knows that it can be trusted. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Sure. I think that the promise of AI is that this digital intelligence can do incredibly intricate things as well as or better than actual human beings. But one of the challenges of it is that means that you can spin up a billion fake AI accounts on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook that are more interesting and more engaged than the actual human beings are that they replace. And those AIs can pass the CAPTCHAs or the proof of humanity test. And so that means that we can no longer rely upon free accounts that are not cryptographically secured or monetarily secured. So the solution that Lightning offers and the solution that Bitcoin offers is the idea that someone can create an identity and they can post a security deposit, say $20 or some 100,000 Satoshis. And then once you posted that deposit, you can cryptographically sign that credential and then use that credential as your verification to cross the iMessage network or the Twitter network or the YouTube network or a Microsoft network or a Facebook network. And you can integrate those networks together. So you can integrate the blue checks from all those networks together. You can log in and authenticate as a real person onto that network. And in many cases, if there is no friction, then you open up the door for AI-driven toxicity. If there's no friction for me to comment on your post in Twitter, then 800,000 fake bots can comment and they can create any impression they want. So the way to create that friction is to require some minor deposit. Maybe it's a micropayment, like 100 Satoshis. Maybe it's a deposit of security that guarantees that you're not going to launch a phishing attack on me or a cyber attack on me. So when you introduce that small deposit, let's say $10 to move through cyberspace, it's de minimis for a human being because they post $10 of Bitcoin once in their life. But if I wanted to launch 1 billion bots at you, it would cost me $10 billion to do it. So when you create that little bit of friction, you create consequence and truth and integrity in cyberspace. And if if you introduce that across all these social media, you can use it to clean up the phishing and the scamming and the toxicity. And you have this other very interesting promise of Bitcoin, which is Bitcoin's the world's most secure computer network.
AI promises to perform complex tasks as well, or even better than humans. But this also means a billion fake AI accounts can overrun platforms like Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. This is where Bitcoin's magic works. You create an identity, post a security deposit, cryptographically sign your credentials, and voila, you're verified. But Bitcoin's powers don't stop there. With its unparalleled security, it could hold the key to much more than ID verification and hard currency. Imagine a world where the Bitcoin network could encrypt and preserve your last will and testament. In the end, the world's most secure computer network, Bitcoin, could become the gatekeeper of truth in a world filled with AI and digital uncertainty. But don't just trust us. Always verify. That's your DigiCoin Daily advice. Till next time, DigiCoin Daily Squad, stay crypto curious.